This is not a coincidence. If this video found you tonight, it's not random. It's not an algorithm. It's not luck. There is a reason you're here, listening to these words at this exact moment. Because deep down, you already feel it. Something is shifting. Something is closing. Something is about to test everything you thought you knew about yourself. You've been strong before. You've endured before. But this feels different, heavier, more personal, more final. And what if I told you this isn't punishment? It's preparation. The final test is never announced. The final test doesn't come with a warning label. It doesn't introduce itself politely. It doesn't say, "Get ready." It comes disguised as loss, as betrayal, as isolation, as silence. It feels like doors slamming, like prayers taking longer to be answered, like people you trusted suddenly turning distant. And you start asking yourself, did I do something wrong? No, you didn't. The weight of being different. From the beginning, you felt different. You saw what others ignored. You felt what others couldn't feel. You questioned things people told you not to question. You searched for depth in a world satisfied with surfaces. You weren't trying to stand out. You were just trying to be honest. But honesty threatens illusions, and illusions protect comfort. So they called you too intense, too sensitive, too much. The mark of a chosen one. Being chosen doesn't mean being favored in ease. It means being entrusted with weight. It means your heart is trained through trials, your patience stretched through delays, your faith refined through uncertainty. You don't get applause during the building stage. You get pressure. You don't get recognition during preparation. You get resistance. And the higher the calling, the deeper the molding. Why the world RESISTSU? When you start awakening, you disrupt patterns. You stop participating in gossip. You stop chasing empty validation. You stop settling for shallow connections. And when you change, the people who benefited from your old version feel uncomfortable. Not because you did something wrong, but because growth exposes stagnation. So they try to silence you, subtly, emotionally, socially. The loneliness of elevation. The higher you rise in awareness, the fewer people can walk with you. You start craving conversations about purpose, not drama, meaning, not distraction. And suddenly, the rooms that once felt normal begin to feel suffocating. This loneliness is not rejection, it's redirection. You are being separated before you are elevated. The test of silence. There will be moments when it feels like heaven is quiet. You pray, you wait, you search for signs, and nothing seems to move. That silence is not abandonment, it is examination. Can you remain faithful without immediate reassurance? Can you stand firm without constant confirmation? The breaking point. Every chosen one reaches a breaking point. A moment where you think, I can't do this anymore. Where exhaustion meets doubt, where fear whispers louder than faith. But what you call breaking is actually shedding. Old fears cracking, old identities falling away, old limitations dissolving. The fire before the promise. Before elevation comes purification. Gold is refined in fire, not comfort. Strength is built in resistance, not ease. You are not being burned to be destroyed. You are being refined to be trusted with more. And the final test always feels unfair before it feels purposeful. Betrayal as a catalyst. Sometimes the final test wears the face of someone you loved, someone you supported, someone you prayed for. And when they walk away or turn against you, it cuts deeper than anything else. But betrayal reveals alignment. It shows you who was assigned to your past, not your future. And painful clarity is still clarity. The temptation to quit. This is where most people give up. Right before the breakthrough, right before the shift, right before the unseen door opens. They mistake pressure for rejection. They mistake delay for denial. and they walk away from what they prayed for. You cannot. The final test is about identity. This isn't about money or status or applause. This final test is about who you are when everything external shakes. Do you still know your worth when misunderstood? Do you still hold your integrity when misjudged? Do you still trust the path when you can't see the outcome? That is the examination. You were trained for this. Look back at everything you survived. The nights you cried in silence, the seasons you felt forgotten, the times you rebuilt yourself from nothing. You didn't break, you adapted, you grew, you deepened. Nothing was wasted. Every tear trained you. Every setback strengthened you. This is not your first storm. It's just your most defining one. The shift is closer than it feels. When the test intensifies, it means the season is closing. Pressure peaks before breakthrough. Darkness thickens before dawn. You are not being crushed. You are being positioned. You are not being delayed. You are being aligned. And alignment requires surrender of what no longer fits. Embrace the refining. Stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what is this shaping within me? Every challenge carries a lesson. Every delay carries protection. Every ending carries space for something greater. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are a student of purpose. And this final test is confirming what you're made of. This is your moment. Not the applause, not the celebration. This quiet decision, this private resilience, this unseen loyalty to your calling. That is where destiny is secured. Stay steady when it's hard. Stay grounded when it's unclear. Stay faithful when it's silent. Because the test does not come to destroy the chosen. It comes to reveal them. Return to awakening. If this message resonated with your spirit, if you feel like you're standing at the edge of your final test, don't shrink now. Comment, "I will not quit," if you're choosing to stand firm. Let your declaration strengthen someone else reading it. Like this video, so it reaches another soul who feels alone in their battle. And subscribe to Return to Awakening, because this is not the end of your journey. This is the moment you rise into who you were always meant to become, when everything feels uncertain. There will be days when your plans collapse without explanation. Doors you were certain would open remain shut. Opportunities dissolve at the last minute. It will feel like instability, like chaos, like confusion. But uncertainty is the birthplace of deeper trust. When control is removed, reliance becomes purified. The stripping season. Before true elevation, there is subtraction. People leave, habits fall away, attachments loosen. You may feel like you're losing everything familiar. But what is being removed cannot go where you're going. You are not being emptied to suffer. You are being emptied to be filled with something stronger. Doubt will whisper. Doubt doesn't shout, it whispers. It tells you that you imagine the calling, that you were never different, that you should just blend in. It tempts you with comfort, with invisibility, with shrinking. But comfort has never produced transformation. And you didn't come this far to disappear now. The pressure to compromise. The final test often comes disguised as an easy shortcut. A chance to lower your standards, to bend your values, to accept less than what aligns with your integrity. It will look convenient, it will feel relieving. But every compromise delays destiny. Your strength is proven in what you refuse, not only in what you pursue. The isolation phase. There may be a stretch where you feel completely alone. Friends don't understand, family questions you, support feels minimal. This isolation is not punishment, it is protection. Not everyone can witness your transformation without projecting their fears onto it. Silence creates space for clarity. Emotional exhaustion. You might feel tired in a way sleep can't fix. Tired of explaining yourself, tired of being strong, tired of holding faith when results seem invisible. But exhaustion doesn't mean you're failing. It means you've been fighting battles that strengthen your spirit. Rest if you must, but do not retreat from who you are becoming. The mirror moment. At some point, the test becomes internal. No enemies, no obstacles, just you and your reflection. Are you still operating from fear, from pride, from the need for validation? This is where refinement becomes personal. Growth requires honesty with yourself before influence over others. The DISAPPRING, validation. The applause fades, the encouragement slows, the external affirmation decreases. You begin to wonder if anyone notices your progress. But this stage is sacred. When validation disappears, purity of intention is revealed. Are you still committed when no one is watching? The courage to wait. Waiting is one of the hardest forms of discipline. Not rushing, not forcing, not manipulating outcomes. Just trusting that timing belongs to the one who sees beyond your sight. Patience is not passive, it is controlled strength. And the chosen are trained to move with wisdom, not impulse. The edge of transformation. You are closer than you think. The pressure you feel is not random. It is resistance before breakthrough. The heaviness is not permanent. It is the final stretch before expansion. Do not interpret intensity as defeat. Often, the strongest resistance comes right before the greatest growth. The separation between old and new. There is a version of you that cannot enter your next season. Old fears, old insecurities, old reactions. This final test draws a line between who you were and who you must become. And crossing that line requires courage. You cannot carry yesterday's mindset into tomorrow's calling. The quiet building. Even when nothing seems visible, something is forming beneath the surface. Character is being reinforced, discernment is sharpening, faith is stabilizing. You may not see immediate results, but unseen growth is still growth. Roots deepen before branches expand. The resistance is confirmation. If there were no purpose attached to your life, there would be no pressure. If there were no potential within you, there would be no opposition. Resistance is not evidence that you're lost. It is confirmation that your direction matters. And the stronger the assignment, the stronger the attempt to distract you from it. The decision point. Soon you will face a simple but powerful choice. Shrink or stand. Doubt or trust. Compromise or commit. This choice will define the season that follows. And no one else can make it for you, the silence that speaks. There will be moments when everything around you feels still. No guidance, no signs, no encouragement, just silence. Do not fear it, do not resent it. This silence is not emptiness, it is revelation. It shows what you are truly relying on, yourself, or the unseen power guiding you. The weight of responsibility. Being chosen comes with burdens invisible to the world. Decisions that affect not only your path, but the lives of those you are meant to inspire. You may feel unprepared, overwhelmed, alone. But weight is never given without capacity. Your endurance has been building quietly for this precise moment. The illusion of failure. Every step backward, every setback, every closed door is a test of perception. Failure is not what it seems. It is often preparation in disguise. What looks like defeat may actually be redirection. What seems like loss may be clearing space for an even greater gain. Do not be fooled by appearances. Trust deeper than sight. The call to carry on. Even when exhaustion bites and fear whispers, there is a calling to continue. It is louder than the chaos, sharper than the doubt, firmer than the pain. It is the voice of purpose echoing through your soul. It says you were made for more than comfort. You were made for impact. The test of faith. Your faith will be tested like never before. Not in easy circumstances, not in predictable situations, but in moments when nothing aligns with your understanding, when prayers feel unanswered and doors remain closed. Faith is proven not when life is simple, but when life challenges the very core of your belief. The revelation of truth. The final test strips away illusions. It shows who you are beneath the masks, beyond the roles, outside expectations. You will discover strengths you didn't know existed. You will confront fears you didn't know were holding you back. And through this revelation, your power awakens fully. The fire of transformation. Transformation is never gentle. It burns through comfort zones, it smelts doubt, it purifies attachment. Pain is its companion, pressure is its teacher. And when you emerge, you will be unrecognizable to the old world, and even to yourself. The moment of choice. Every trial, every whisper of fear, every temptation to give in leads to a decisive moment. Will you rise, fully embracing the weight of your calling? Or will you retreat into safety, denying the strength already forged in your soul? This choice is yours alone. The path of the chosen. There is no map, no guarantee, no easy passage. Only faith, endurance, clarity, and courage. Those who walk this path are few. They are misunderstood, overlooked, even opposed. But they are also unstoppable, unshakable, unseen forces move with them. And the world waits unknowingly for the impact they are destined to make. The sacred alignment. When the test is complete, alignment follows. Everything previously disjointed begins to synchronize. Doors open that seemed permanently closed. People arrive who were meant to be there. Opportunities align with your vision. This is the reward of steadfastness, the fruit of endurance, the validation of the final test. The inner light. Through every trial, every shadow, every doubt, you are learning one thing. Your light cannot be extinguished. It may flicker, it may dim temporarily, but it grows stronger with every challenge, every heartbreak, every silent night. And when fully awakened, that light becomes unstoppable. The moment of breakthrough. It will arrive unexpectedly, not announced, not predicted. A quiet confirmation, a subtle shift, a force you can no longer ignore. You will know it in your bones, in your vision, in the very rhythm of your being. This is when the test ends, not with fanfare but with realization. The final shape of you. By enduring this, you are no longer who you were. You are refined, tempered, and entrusted. Your voice carries weight, your presence carries purpose. Your choices now impact the unseen and the seen alike. The test has shaped you into the vessel you were always meant to become, the silence before the ascent. After every storm there is a calm, but this calm feels different. It is heavy with expectation, quiet with unseen preparation. Your spirit senses it before your mind does. This is the moment when everything you endured is settling into readiness. Even if nothing seems obvious, transformation is completing beneath the surface. The awakening of clarity. Suddenly, decisions become clear. Paths that were once fogged with doubt now reveal themselves. The distractions that once consumed your energy fade into irrelevance. You see truth where you once saw only confusion. And you understand that every trial was designed to bring you precisely here. The test of endurance. Endurance is not only about surviving the storm, it's about staying aligned while the storm rages. When pressure mounts, you may feel like giving in, like retreating, like surrendering to the easier path. But endurance is what separates the chosen from the rest. And this test is about proving that your commitment is unwavering, even when the world doubts you. The forging of resilience. Every challenge has chipped away fear, self-doubt, and hesitation. Every disappointment has reinforced strength, patience, and vision. Resilience is not born in comfort, it is forged in trials. And by enduring the final test, you are now indestructible in ways few will ever understand. The moment of internal alignment. The final test is not only external, it is internal. You are confronted with your true self, your values, your purpose, your faith. Will you honor the calling you feel in your soul? Will you let fear dictate your actions, or will you rise to your own inner truth? This alignment determines everything that follows. The shift in perception. Suddenly, what once seemed impossible now seems inevitable. The obstacles that loomed large now feel small. The noise of doubt and criticism fades. You see the path not as a series of struggles, but as a series of steps toward the destiny you were born for. The test of sacrifice. Every chosen one faces sacrifices. Time, comfort, relationships, and sometimes even the familiar version of themselves. But sacrifice is not loss, it is investment. And what you give up now, you gain in exponential purpose and clarity. The discovery of unseen support. Even in isolation, you are never truly alone. There are unseen forces, guidance and connections forming in ways you cannot yet perceive. Faith grows when proof is invisible. Trust strengthens when the path is uncertain. And this invisible support carries the chosen beyond the final test. The moment of unveiling. One day, what was hidden becomes visible. The challenges that felt unbearable now reveal their purpose. The lessons that felt harsh now become wisdom. The path that seemed uncertain now becomes destiny. And in this unveiling, you recognize that the test was never against you. It was always for you. The ascent into purpose. With the final test behind you, every step forward feels different. Your choices carry weight, your words carry power, your actions carry meaning. You are no longer reacting, you are leading. The world may not understand, but it will feel the impact. And your awakening is now unstoppable, the awakening of authority. With the test complete, your presence begins to command attention. Not through arrogance, not through force, but through the quiet power of alignment. People may not understand why you move differently, speak differently, or think differently. But your inner authority is now undeniable, because it is rooted in truth, not approval. The revelation of purpose. Every trial, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt now reveals a larger picture. You begin to see the threads connecting your past to your present to your future. Nothing was random, nothing wasted. And this clarity ignites action that is focused, intentional, and unstoppable. The power of silent influence. You no longer need to shout to be heard. Your calm, measured steps ripple through the unseen currents of life. The lessons you've absorbed resonate quietly, affecting those around you without effort. This is the power of the chosen, the influence that comes from being aligned with purpose, not ego. The test of integrity. Even at this stage, temptation will appear, not as obvious as before but subtle. It may present as shortcuts, flattering recognition, or quick validation. Integrity is tested when the reward is attractive, but misaligned with your truth. The final proof of awakening is staying faithful to your values, no matter how easy the alternative. The embrace of transformation. You begin to recognize yourself in ways you never could before. The fears that once held you back have become markers of your strength. The doubts that once consumed you have become signs of resilience. The struggles that once seemed endless have become the foundation of your power. The alignment of destiny. Everything that felt disjointed now begins to converge. Opportunities, relationships, and insights appear with precise timing. You no longer chase, they come to you. Because the chosen move in harmony with the unseen currents of destiny, not against them. The sacred responsibility. With awakening comes responsibility. You carry not only your path, but the light for others navigating darkness. Your experience becomes guidance, your strength becomes shelter. And this responsibility is not a burden. It is a testament to the trust placed in you by the unseen forces guiding your journey. The emergence of clarity. Where confusion once reigned, clarity now dominates. The choices that used to paralyze you now feel instinctive. The path that felt uncertain now feels inevitable. And every step forward is fueled by the deep knowing that you are exactly where you are meant to be. The final confirmation. The test is no longer a trial, it is a confirmation. Every lesson, every challenge, every moment of endurance now converges into undeniable proof. You are a chosen one. You have endured, you have grown, you have aligned. And the journey ahead, while still unfolding, is now illuminated by the wisdom earned in fire. The silent power of patience. True power is never loud. It is not displayed for recognition. It is patient, it is still, it is unwavering. You have learned that timing is everything, and that rushing the process only delays what is meant to arrive. Your patience is now a force that shapes outcomes without visible effort, the threshold of elevation. There comes a moment when you realize you are no longer fighting the test. You are walking through it with steadiness. What once felt overwhelming now feels intentional. You are no longer asking, "Why me?" You are quietly understanding, this was necessary. The death of the old self. The final test was never about breaking you. It was about ending a version of you that could not carry what is coming. Old reactions, old insecurities, old emotional patterns. They had to fall away. Growth always requires a burial before a rebirth. The discipline of emotional control. You've learned to respond instead of react, to pause instead of explode, to observe instead of absorb every negative projection. Emotional discipline is power, and power without control would have destroyed what you are now ready to build. The strength to walk alone. You are no longer afraid of solitude. You've discovered that isolation sharpened your discernment. It taught you who truly aligns and who only attaches. Walking alone strengthened your standards, and standards protect destiny. The clarity of discernment. You now sense intentions before words are spoken. You feel energy shifts before actions unfold. Discernment is no longer suspicion, it is awareness. And awareness keeps you from repeating cycles you already outgrew. The humility within power. True awakening does not create arrogance. It creates gratitude. You know how close you were to quitting. You know how heavy the pressure felt. So you carry your strength with humility, not pride. The test of consistency. Now the challenge shifts. Can you remain consistent in growth? Can you maintain discipline without crisis forcing you? Consistency is the quiet proof that transformation is real. And real change shows up daily, not occasionally. The protection of patience. You no longer rush connections. You no longer chase validation. You no longer force outcomes. Patience has become protection. What is meant for you will not require desperation. The confidence of alignment. Your confidence is different now. It is not loud, it is not defensive. It is grounded. You know who you are without needing agreement. That is the confidence forged by trials. The unseen preparation. While you thought you were surviving, you were actually being trained. Trained to handle pressure without collapsing. Trained to endure silence without losing faith. Trained to lead without seeking applause. Preparation rarely feels glorious while it's happening. The shift in energy. People begin to respond to you differently. Some feel inspired, some feel intimidated. Some celebrate you, others distance themselves. Do not be confused by this. Elevation always exposes alignment. The courage to hold your position. There will still be attempts to pull you back into old versions of yourself. Old environments, old conversations, old emotional triggers. This is the final echo of your past. Stand firm. Growth requires you to protect your new ground. The acceptance of responsibility. You can no longer pretend you don't see what you see. You can no longer shrink your awareness to make others comfortable. With awakening comes accountability. You are responsible for how you move now. And that responsibility is sacred. The calm after the storm. The chaos that once surrounded you begins to quiet down. Not because life becomes perfect, but because you have become stable. Storms do not shake mountains, and you have become grounded. The final internal victory. Before any external breakthrough, there is an internal one. The moment you realize you are no longer afraid of losing what isn't aligned. The moment you realize your peace matters more than approval. The moment you realize you trust the process more than your fears. That is the true victory of the final test, the quiet confidence. You no longer feel the need to prove anything. Your worth is no longer up for debate in your own mind. Silence has taught you assurance. Stillness has taught you strength. And confidence now lives in you without effort. The release of old attachments. You notice it gently. What once pulled at your emotions no longer has power. Old wounds no longer bleed. Old memories no longer control you. You don't hate the past, you simply don't live there anymore. Detachment is not coldness, it is freedom. The stability of self-trust. You trust your decisions now, even when the outcome is uncertain, even when others don't understand your choices. Self-trust is the reward of surviving confusion without losing yourself. And that trust makes you unshakable. The end of inner chaos. The inner noise quiets. Overthinking fades, emotional turbulence settles. Not because life stopped testing you, but because you stopped panicking. Peace becomes your default state. And peace is a sign of mastery, not passivity. The shift from survival to intention. You are no longer just getting through days. You are choosing how to move through them. Intent replaces impulse. Purpose replaces reaction. This is where life begins to respond to you differently. The maturity of restraint. You no longer respond to every provocation. Not every comment deserves energy. Not every battle deserves engagement. Restraint is wisdom in motion. You understand now that power is conserved, not wasted. And chosen ones move selectively. The redefinition of strength. Strength no longer means endurance alone. It means knowing when to stop, when to step back, when to protect your energy. You learn that burnout is not sacrifice. Sustainability is strength. And balance keeps the calling alive. The deepening of awareness. You notice patterns instantly. Cycles, repeats, traps disguised as opportunities. Awareness sharpens your path. You no longer learn lessons the hard way. Because awareness shortens suffering. The end of self-abandonment. You no longer betray yourself to keep peace with others. You no longer silence your intuition to avoid discomfort. You stay loyal to your inner truth. This loyalty is non-negotiable now. And that changes everything. The strength of boundaries. Boundaries no longer feel like walls. They feel like clarity. You protect your time, your energy, your focus. Not out of fear, but out of respect for your calling. Boundaries preserve destiny. The stillness of readiness. There is a calm knowing settling within you. A sense that you are ready, even if the details are unknown. You don't rush the next chapter. You are prepared to meet it when it arrives. Readiness is quiet, not anxious. The dissolving of fear. Fear no longer controls your decisions. It may still appear, but it no longer leads. You move forward despite uncertainty. Courage is no longer something you force. It has become your nature. The return to self. After everything, you come back to yourself. Not the wounded self, not the doubting self, but the grounded self. The self that remembers who it is. And from this place, everything begins again, stronger, clearer, aligned.